Welcome to Realms of the Other World, Episode 14, Raynham Hall. Near Fakenham, Norfolk, in the UK, on several acres of countryside, sits the awe-inspiring property of Raynham Hall. The magnificent house has a history going back almost 1,000 years. Alluring tales and the paranormal abound. Raynham Hall has been in the Townshend family for 400 years. The building began in 1619 and paused, and then restarted again in 1621 and 1622. The home was almost finished at the time of Sir Roger Townshend's death in 1637. The house was known as one of the outstanding country houses of the period. It was built in a totally new style. It had Italian form and plan, and yet it had the hipped roof and Dutch gables. It easily could be mistaken for a house built much, much later. A century after it was finished, famous designer William Kent redid the interiors. Amazing plasterwork ceilings, fine paintings, and furniture from the centuries fills the house with opulence. King Charles II stayed at Raynham Hall in the 17th century with Horatio Townshend, the first Viscount Townshend. There was a bedroom and a private dining room and chairs made just for his visit. The room is now called the King's Bedroom. The main story of Raynham Hall is that of the marriage between Lady Dorothy Walpole and of Charles Townshend, the second Viscount Townshend. Lady Dorothy was born in 1686 and was a member of the famous Walpole family. Her father was a member of Parliament, and her brother Sir Robert became Prime Minister. They are best known for their nephew Horace Walpole, who wrote The Castle of Otranto. Lady Dorothy was raised by a wealthy family and was used to all of the luxuries. When younger, she and Charles Townshend, a Viscount, fell in love, but her father, who was also the guardian of Charles Townshend, forbid them to marry because he did not want to be seen as an influence on the nobleman. Townshend married Lady Elizabeth Pelham instead. She died in 1711, and then he was free to marry Dorothy. A dream come true. However, Dorothy had not been sitting around and waiting for Charles. At one point, she was the mistress of Lord Wharton, who was a bit of a playboy and troublemaker. According to Mary Worley Montagu, Dorothy was in fact entrapped by the Countess of Wharton. Charles was not aware of this previous affair and only discovered it well into their marriage in 1725. He was infuriated, and it is said he locked Dorothy in one of the rooms in Raynham. She was a prisoner separated from her children. Charles apparently told the public that she had died, and he even held a mock funeral. She roamed the halls of Raynham after this and really died in 1726, officially from smallpox. However, rumors talked of a violent death, perhaps falling or being pushed down the stairs. About 100 years later, in 1835, during a Christmas celebration at Raynham, a guest saw a lady in a brown dress walking down the hall. Another person said that they had seen her too, and when he had approached her, she had a glowing face and black sockets for eyes. Many of the staff had seen this figure and were so terrified that they fled from the hall. In 1836, Captain Frederick Marryat, a friend of Charles Dickens, asked if he could stay in the hall to disprove the ghost stories. He too saw the brown lady and chased her down the hallway with his revolver. His daughter recounts, "The figure halted of its own accord before the door, behind which my father stood, and holding the lighted lamp she carried to her features, grinned in a malicious and diabolical manner at him. This act so infuriated my father, who was anything but lamb-like in disposition, and he sprang into the corridor with a bound and discharged the revolver right in her face. The ghost instantly disappeared, and the bullet passed through the outer door of the room on the opposite side of the corridor and lodged in the panel of the inner one. My father never attempted to interfere with the Brown Lady of Raynham." At times, the brown lady would make an appearance as a warning. In one case, the night that one of the relatives of her and the Townshends passed, she appeared at a dinner party at the home. In 1926, Lady Townshend's own son-in-law saw the brown lady. After he saw her, he saw the portrait of Dorothy Walpole on the wall and recognized her right away. In 1936, a photographer was at Raynham Hall taking photos of the staircase for Country Life magazine. His assistant noticed a misty figure descending the staircase. A recount follows. Captain Provand took one photograph while I flashed the light. He was focusing for another exposure. I was standing by his side, just behind the camera, with the flashlight pistol in my hand, looking directly up the staircase. All at once, I detected an ethereal, veiled form coming slowly down the stairs. Rather excitedly, I called out sharply, "Quick, quick, there's something!" I pressed the trigger of the flashlight pistol. After the flash and on closing the shutter, Captain Provand removed the focusing cloth from his head and turned to me and said, "What's all the excitement about?" Turns out, after they developed the photos, a ghostly figure could be seen on the stairs. This photo was published in Country Life magazine and in Life magazine, one of the most famous ghost photos in the world. Some think the photo was a hoax. It's possible, but not as simple to do as it is now. There could have been grease on the lens or maybe a double exposure. However, Captain Provand was a well-known, famous London photographer. Was there a ghost? Was it a strange effect? Or was it a hoax? We will never know. Since the famous photograph was taken, the Townshend family has not reported any more sightings that we know of. Was the brown lady satisfied once her photo was captured for the world to see? Or is she still wandering the halls of the magnificent home? Do you dare take a tour? Currently, Charles Townshend, the 8th Marquess Townshend, and his wife live here. They offer tours of the house. 17 rooms, and the grounds are open for walking and picnicking. You can also visit the church. Fees go towards restoration of the hall. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Realms of the Other World. Please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Also be sure to visit us on Patreon. The links are in the description below. Have a good evening. Take care.